Well, what a night it was Friday night here inside Hinkle Fieldhouse for the second round of the Speedway Horizon League Men's Basketball Championship with Adam Coppinger. I'm Damon Lewis. Adam, we saw two fantastic games here inside Hinkle Fieldhouse, something we wouldn't expect any less with how much bunching there was in the Horizon League standings this year.
A lot of people thought the middle of the league was down a little bit, but they were all close. All those teams had played a lot of close games in the regular season, and the scores weren't necessarily really close tonight, but they were good runs and excitement. It was a good atmosphere tonight.
Exciting games for sure for the fans that were in attendance. Our nightcap here at Hinkle Fieldhouse featured the 4-seed Milwaukee Panthers and the 5-seed Cleveland State Vikings, a game that the Panthers pulled out 82-75, a game where they built a 20-point lead at them and then held on at the end to advance to Saturday night's semifinals.
And they did it with offense. They really got points from just about everybody on the team. I'm looking at the box score. Anthony Hill has 14 points. Ryan Haggerty has 12. James Ayers has 11. Ricky Franklin has 13. Gerard McCallum has 14, and Jason Avercamp has 10. If you played for him tonight, you would have probably gotten double figures for him.
I don't know if I want to go that far, but as we're taking a look at some of the highlights here, I mean, Gerard McCallum was a huge spark off the bench, 4 of 4 from the three-point line, ended up with 14 points and 6 rebounds. And you said it, Milwaukee really did it with offense, and they just controlled the tempo enough to not allow Cleveland State to play their kind of up-and-down ball game.
And there was a point in the second half where it was a 20-point game, and I thought to myself, even if Cleveland State makes a run, and they eventually did, they might not have enough to continue that run late into the second half, and they really didn't. They were playing short. They didn't have DeAndre Brown. Cole didn't get off to a great start. They had a lot of things stacked against them. Still played really hard, but it just wasn't enough in the end.
Tim Kamchek with 20 points for Cleveland State. Norris Cole finished with 16. Tough way for them to certainly end their season. But on the flip side of the coin, Milwaukee survive and advance. Now they're going to play the number 1 seed, the Butler Bulldogs, Saturday night here at Hinkle Fieldhouse, 8 o'clock Eastern on ESPNU.
They have enough big bodies where they can bother Butler. Gordon Hayward's got a back problem. That's never good when you're playing against bigger players. Matt Howard's gotten in a lot of foul trouble this year. Even if Anthony Hill plays him close, plays him almost as well as he did up in Milwaukee, they'll be all right because the next guy can come in. Ryan Haggerty's playing well. They have other big guys. Avercamp's been playing well. And then if Ayers gets going in this building, Milwaukee's certainly a different team when he's playing his A game.
James Ayers, over the course of his 2 years here in the Horizon League, has tended to struggle inside Hinkle Fieldhouse. That certainly wasn't the case Friday night against Cleveland State. Ayers, 11 points, 7 rebounds in 30 minutes of action. Of course, the Butler Bulldogs, they went undefeated in the Horizon League this season, finished 18-0. But one of those victories that maybe was the hardest to come by was that game at Milwaukee. It was part of a 4-game road trip. The Bulldogs were obviously able to survive, and in the game here at Hinkle Fieldhouse earlier in the Horizon League campaign, the Bulldogs really had no trouble with Milwaukee.
It's interesting to note that both the teams that won here tonight were teams that played Butler really tough. A lot of times you can use Butler as a barometer, and if you play really well against them, there's a chance you'll do really well in the tournament.
Of course, the other team that did win here inside Hinkle Fieldhouse on Friday night was the Detroit Titans. The number 7 seeded Detroit Titans upset the number 3 seed Green Bay by a score of 62-53. And Adam, this game just full of lots of highlight type of plays, beginning with Eli Holman.
It's scary to think what could happen in this league if Eli Holman gets his offensive act together, and he's really done that in the last 2 games against 2 of the lesser defensive teams in the league, but hey, you got to do it against somebody. 7 of 9 from the field tonight, 11 rebounds in 31 minutes. When he's going like this right here, ba-boom.
Look out below.
It is tough to stop him.
Eli Holman, as you mentioned, 31 minutes of action, 16 points, 11 rebounds. Named the player, the U.S. Army Player of the Game in that contest against Green Bay. Was also named the U.S. Army Player of the contest or of the game in their Tuesday night victory against Valparaiso, in which he had 21 points and 15 rebounds. We said it when we previewed these second-round games that when Detroit is hitting shots, boy, are they scary, and they shot 51% on Tuesday against Valparaiso. They come in here to Hinkle Fieldhouse and shoot 44% against the Green Bay Phoenix. Green Bay didn't really know what to do defensively. They tried man-to-man, they tried zone, and nothing worked.
I thought the most impressive thing tonight from Detroit was their defense. A guy like Randy Berry, who's played really well this year, 1 for 3 from the field. in 38 minutes. Eli Holman not being on the all-defensive team is a travesty, and he's out here proving it to people. Green Bay shoots 37% from the field. They're an efficient offense, one of the better offenses in the league, and they just could not get it going.
Marquise Perrine, really the only Green Bay Phoenix member of that team that really brought his A game. 10 of 19 from the field, finished with 22 points in 39 minutes of action. All Horizon League first-team selection Ramon Fletcher was flat out bad here in Hinkle Fieldhouse. 1 of 10 from the field, played 35 minutes. And you really can't say anything, but he hurt this team more than he helped it.
Yeah, he just really struggled. And early in that second game, Norris Cole had the same issues, but he fought through it, and it just seemed like Fletcher couldn't fight through that.
Detroit certainly frustrated him on the offensive end. They stuck Woody Payne in his face everywhere Ramon Fletcher went. Woody Payne was close behind, obviously, the co-defensive player of the year in the Horizon League this season. So, Detroit, they beat Green Bay. They will advance to play the first game Saturday night here inside Hinkle Fieldhouse. They'll take on the Wright-State Raiders, a game that begins at 5:15 Eastern and will be tape delayed and showed on ESPNU around 10:30 Eastern Saturday night.
A game that Detroit can certainly win. We say that almost every night when we have to preview a game for Detroit. If they do this, they can put themselves in a really good position to win. Now, Detroit is very well coached. They're a more experienced team. They just have better decision makers on the court. So that's something that Detroit's really going to have to clamp down on. I like Donovan Foster off their bench as the decision maker and as a key player. And, of course, Woody Payne and the guy Evans guarding each other is also going to be a very key matchup.
In terms of this matchup with Wright State, obviously the game in Detroit, we talked to our colleague Chris Collins, who will call the game on Wright State Radio. He said that game at Detroit was sloppy. It was a game the Raiders won by 2, and we've mentioned it a couple of times. That came at a point in the season where both teams, Detroit and Wright State, were 4-4 in the Horizon League. And I know personally, I said, I can't believe Wright State's going to be 4-5 when we get to, Sunday morning. Well, Wright State, that was a turning point in their season. They got that win. They were 5-4 after that win. They ended 12-6 in the Horizon League, which is awfully impressive. But now you're on a neutral floor, and you can't argue with the fact that Detroit is really rolling right now.
I'm going to beat a dead horse and just say again and again, if Eli Holman stays out of foul trouble, I say it every week, they're really, really tough. You mentioned something during the broadcast of their game tonight. He only had 1 foul in the first half, and Ray McCallum has to be going into halftime thinking he's got a present. He's got a player with 4 fouls going into the second half. Corey Cooperwood gets in foul trouble. They're already short up front without Cooper Land. Ronnie Thomas is really their only other big. Darko, I don't know how comfortable Coach Brownell is bringing him off the bench and expecting him to contribute at all offensively and being able to handle Eli Holman defensively.
Both games Saturday night here inside Hinkle Fieldhouse should be awfully entertaining. The first one, as we said, gets started 5:15 Eastern, Wright State and Detroit here inside Hinkle Fieldhouse. Our nightcap will feature the top-seeded Butler Bulldogs taking on the Milwaukee Panthers. Should be a great semifinal round. Hopefully you will join us on the HLN Live blog while these games are being telecast on ESPNU. Adam and I will be live on HLN blogging all of the action. Thanks for watching the Horizon League Network. We certainly hope you're enjoying the 2010 Speedway Horizon League Men's Basketball Championship.